and welcome to Facts or Frauds.
Good morning, everyone. You may be seated. I am Judge Spataro, and this is Elkhart Superior Court number 5. We're here for the bench trial of State versus Paul J. Miller. The cause number is 20D05, 2107, CM1186. I was just looking at the chronological case summary. I did note that Mr. Miller waived counsel at his initial hearing on July 9th. We are here today for the bench trial. And what I typically would do, Ms. Cassidy might know this, and Mr. Miller, you may or may not know this, but the state has the burden of proving all the elements of the crime that they've charged you with. Because they have the burden of proof, they typically go first. I will allow a brief opening statement if either of you would like to make one. That is not to put forth evidence, that's just to summarize evidence that will be introduced. I would give Ms. Cassidy the opportunity first, and then Mr. Miller, I give you the opportunity for a very brief opening. I'll ask Ms. Cassidy, would you like to make an opening statement?
No, Your Honor, the state will waive.
Okay. Mr. Miller, would you like to make an opening statement?
I would like to have the paperwork on it on what you guys have. What is it, like 2 papers or something? Just the Class A misdemeanor and like the probable cause paper. Do you have a copy of that for me?
Well, the time to request discovery would have gone by. I'm not opposed. I'll ask the state, do you have any objection to me printing off the charging information for Mr. Miller at this time?
No.
Okay, Mr. Miller, what I could do is have my staff print a copy of the charging information, the probable cause affidavit, and I'm happy to take a brief time out if, Karen, you have the ability to do that for me.
I just printed it off in Teresa's.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Your Honor, just so you're aware, the state did provide local discovery to Mr. Miller.
Thank you. Do you have an approximate date of when that was done, Ms. Cassidy?
I can find it. September 23rd, 2021.
Thank you. Mr. Miller, if you would just let me know when you've had a chance to completely review the affidavit to establish probable cause as well as the charging information.
Okay. Okay, I'd be ready.
Okay, thank you, sir. Now, Mr. Miller, the state has waived giving an opening statement. Would you also waive giving an opening statement, or would you like to make a brief one?
I have nothing to say at this time.
Okay. And I will remind you, sir, you do have the right to remain silent. No one can compel you to take the stand to testify against yourself, nor do you need to say anything in response. It is the state's burden of proof to prove all the elements of the crime beyond a reasonable doubt. You understand that, Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. All right, the state ready to call its first witness?
Yes, Your Honor, the state calls Donald McQuarrie.
Okay, Donald McQuarrie.
Thank you.
Good morning, Officer McQuarrie.
Just so you know, on Monday, I came in contact with somebody that was COVID positive. His test was a week before.
Okay,
So I'm going to keep my distance, and that's why I have a mask on.
thank you for letting me know that.
Okay.
Would you please raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay, you may have a seat.
Thank you.
Ms. Cassidy?
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Could you please state your full name for the record?
Donald Anthony McQuarrie. My last name is McQuarie.
Thank you. And where do you work?
I work for the Elkhart County Sheriff's Office.
What is your position there?
I am a deputy assigned to the Special Services Section, which is a subsection of the Patrol Division. We're responsible for serving all the court orders that require a law enforcement officer to serve.
How long have you been in that position?
2002, 2003.
Is that how long you've been with the Sheriff's Office?
No, I've been with the Sheriff's Office since 1994.
All right. Could you briefly explain your training and experience?
So I've been through the state certified jail officer school when I started with the Sheriff's Office in the jail division. In 98, I went to the Indiana Law Enforcement Academy, which is the certification for law enforcement officers. And then I maintain the required training every year that the Law Enforcement Academy requires law enforcement officers to have to maintain their certification.
You briefly touched on this, but as part, as part of your normal duties, do you serve orders of possession?
Yes, I do.
What is an order of possession?
An order of possession is a court order. It's issued under civil law in the state of Indiana that instructs the named party, most likely the defendant, that they need to comply with some sort of action that is hereby being ordered by the court.
What is the process for serving an order of possession?
So the order of possessions in this case, which an order of possession is just one title that is used in this county for the same style of order. It is a usually sent over to us from the court either via email or via the court or the county courier, then in which case our records personnel enter into our RMS system so we can track and maintain it. Once it is entered, it is stamped by them with a service stamp that myself or my partner fill out when we serve the order, and then it is sent down to us. We get those in the mornings at 5 a.m. Monday through Friday. So if an order comes in on Friday, we would get it Monday morning. Then once we get it, we look the order over to see where we're going, look exactly and see what the court is ordering us to do. And in this case, this was an order to evict an individual from an address out in Middlebury. Then once we get that, barring any emergency situations that can pull us away, we will get those orders served that day.
When you serve in this case, for example, an order of possession, how does this actual service on the person work? Are you required to read it? Are they required to sign it?
So there are 4 forms of acceptable service in the state of Indiana, all governed by Indiana Trial Rule 4.1. In this case, it was actual service on the named defendant. Went to the property, knocked on the door, defendant, in this case Paul Miller, sitting here to my left, came to the door and I handed him directly the order and informed him exactly what it was.
Is he required to sign?
No, he is not required to sign.
All right, let's step back a little bit. Were you working on April 1st, 2021?
Yes, I was.
Were you in your full uniform?
Yes, I was. I was in the Class C DDU style uniform.
And on that day, were you tasked with serving an order of possession on a Paul Miller at 86 County Road 43 in Middlebury?
Yes, I was.
Is that address in Elkhart County, Indiana?
Yes, it is.
Who owns that property?
At this current point in time, it's owned by, to the best of my knowledge, Justin Messer.
When you arrived at that property, what did you do first?
I got additional officers. I've had a prior experience with Mr. Miller, and talking with some officers from Middlebury, I know he has a violent nature. So I asked for additional officers to assist with this, so we had additional people there that could witness. So I had 3 officers in an overwatch position, and then Deputy Chief Bobby Baker from Middlebury PD assisted me by going up to the trailer. He had a bit of an overwatch position directly on me as I served the order to Paul. So we approached the property from the south, went through the woods because the trailer has a blind spot. Went up to the trailer, I knocked on the door. Mr. Miller came to the door. I handed him the court order telling him this is an eviction. He has 7 days to vacate, in which case he said no, he wasn't going to. Called me a murderer, an outlaw, and a few other names.
Okay. So you've referred to him as Paul Miller, but how did you identify Paul Miller?
I've had prior contact with him, so I know what he looked like.
Okay. You have mentioned this already, but do you see Paul Miller in the courtroom today?
Yeah, he's sitting here to my left.
Okay. Your Honor, could the record please reflect an in-court identification of the defendant?
Yes, the record so reflects.
Okay. And then at that time, did you serve the defendant the order of possession?
Yes, I handed him the folded copy that comes with it, so it's an actual identical copy of the order. I handed it to him, informed me it was an eviction order. He had 7 days to vacate.
Okay. Your Honor, may I personally notice?
You may.
Great. I'm handing you what's been preliminarily marked as State's Exhibit 1. What is that?
That is an order of possession that was issued from Superior Court 4.
And who is the defendant in that?
It's Paul Miller.
Is this the order of possession that you were referring to earlier?
Yes.
Is there a service on this order of possession?
Yeah, in the upper right corner, directly under the cause number, is a service stamp that's placed there by our records personnel. That is the stamp I referred to earlier that I fill out, showing the date, the time, who served it, and if I did one of the 4 acceptable forms of service.
On what date was this order of possession served?
April 1st, 2021.
Approximately what time?
10 a.m.
And by whom?
By myself, the Deputy McQuarrie.
Are you identified under A200?
Yes, that is my unit number.
And just to be clear, who was this served to?
Paul Miller.
Your Honor, the state would move to enter State's Exhibit 1 into evidence.
Any objection, Mr. Miller?
I actually object to everything he's doing because he's not the original witness, because she is taking his case. So if she's taking his case, he wouldn't be the original witness. He'd have to take his own case. But the other thing is, I was never served this order.
Okay.
So, and this is the first time between you, me, and God I ever seen this order.
Mr. Miller, now's not the time for testimony. I just want to know if you object to that document being offered into evidence and accepted into evidence at this time.
I object to everything you guys are doing here today.
On what grounds, sir?
On the grounds that this is Superior Court 4, and it's been sued by a prior case called Paul Miller versus Marcia McSherry, Superior Court 1, Warsaw, Indiana. These guys have all defaulted.
Yeah,
So-
sir, your objection is overruled. I'll accept and admit into evidence State's Exhibit 1. You may proceed, Ms. Cassidy.
Thank you. Officer, while you were serving this order of possession, did the defendant say anything to you?
Yeah, he told me he wasn't going to leave and that I was, as I said earlier, a murderer and an outlaw.
Thank you. I'll pass the witness.
Okay. Mr. Miller, do you have any questions for the witness? It's not time to testify, just to ask questions.
Say that again?
I'm asking if you have any questions for this witness. It is not time for you to testify. It is just your opportunity to ask questions, and they must be along the same scope as the state's questions.
Do you have a court order showing who made you a sheriff deputy?
No.
So I asked the court to take that into notice. You know, this guy has got a
Sir, I'm going to
uniform.
stop you right there. You can't say this guy is and start testifying. You can only ask questions. And
Okay, so that's all I got. What's your real name? Is that your real name, or is that your name that you use when you're doing what you're doing?
That is my real name.
Where do you reside at? Where do you live at?
Objection, that's not relevant.
Okay, sustained.
I think if he's serving the Indiana Law Sheriff Department, I think I have a right to know where he lives at.
I've sustained the objection. It's not relevant, sir.
Okay.
Next question.
I also have another case that he's been sued.
Sir, I'm going to warn you again. This is not time for you to testify or give me information. It is only time for you to ask questions of this witness.
Was this notice sent out any time to any address?
It was taken directly to the address listed and handed to
It
me.
was never mailed, just handed?
Yes.
I never received it, so that's a lie.
Sir, this is the third time. When you make
understand,
comments like, I've never received it, that's a lie, that is not a question, and I'm not going to allow
I
it.
understand. Okay, what is your real name again?
Donald A. McQuarrie.
And how long have you been over there at the Elkhart Sheriff Department?
Since 1994.
And are you a fireman also?
No, I am not.
Do you know what a radio wave is?
Objection, Your Honor, relevance.
Can you explain the relevance, Mr. Mellon?
I'm being radio waved by Warsaw Sheriff Department right now. They're tending murder scheme on me. And I sued all these guys, and they're getting these guys out there to steal my camper and try to murder me so these false officials don't have to pay me, because I sued a bunch of false officials.
Sir, I'm going to sustain
I know
the
that's
objection.
relevant, so I'll just continue
It's
asking.
not
more
relevant.
questions.
You can ask your next question.
Okay, so you say you're not a fireman.
Correct.
Do you know what a radio wave is?
Objection asked and answered, also overruled.
Sustained. Next question.
Do you know Justin Messer?
Yes.
How is he affiliated with you?
Other than I know who he is and I served an order that he is the named plaintiff in.
Have you worked with him for quite a while?
I've never worked for or with Justin Messer.
This is the first time.
I'm not working with Justin Messer.
Well, if you serve okay, they're bringing in another order in here. You've got other cases going on here, so this is
Sir, I'm going to warn you again. You need to ask questions and not provide the court with information that you feel
okay.
is
I'm
relevant.
done. I'm finished with asking questions from him.
Any other redirect?
No, Your Honor.
Officer McQuarrie, you are free to leave.
Thank you.
The state may call its next witness.
The state calls Robert Baker.
Good morning, Officer Baker. You may come forward if you'd like to remain standing.
Yes, sir.
Just please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Sir, you may be seated, recognizing the chair might still be wet from the cleaning.
Yes.
If you'd like to wait and stand behind it, whatever you're comfortable doing.
We're okay. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. You've been sworn under oath. Ms. Cassidy?
Thank you. Good morning.
Morning.
Could you please state your full name for the record?
Robert Baker,
Where do you work?
Middlebury Police Department,
What is your position there?
the Deputy Chief.
How long have you been the deputy chief?
The Deputy Chief, 4 or 5 years. 5 years, I think.
And how long have you been with the Middlebury Police Department?
Over 25 years.
Could you briefly explain for the court your training and experience?
Back in '96 was the Law Enforcement Academy's training. I've had training with drugs, narcotics, mental health, children, sex crimes, and other training through the 25 years.
All right. Were you on duty on April 1st, 2021?
Yes, I was.
Did you assist Officer McQuarrie of the Elkhart County Sheriff's Office with serving an order of possession?
Yes, I did.
Was that at County Road 43 in Middlebury?
Yeah, I believe that was the address.
And is that in Elkhart County, state of Indiana?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Who was the order of possession against?
Paul Miller.
Did you locate Paul Miller?
Yes, we did.
How did you identify him?
I knew him by sight.
Do you see Paul Miller in the courtroom today?
Yes, I do.
Could you please point to him and identify an article of clothing he's wearing?
Yes, he's wearing the tan, shirt, pants, beard.
Your Honor, please let the record reflect an in-court identification of the defendant.
The record so reflects.
What happened when you arrived?
We staged down the street, got out together and came up with basically a tactical way that we were going to approach the house, or the trailer.
And why is that?
He's made threats against law enforcement in the past to murder us, shoot us, kill us, that type of stuff.
What happened next?
We decided our plan. There was 4 of us. We approached from what we could think was the best blind side where he wouldn't see us coming.
Did you approach the trailer?
Yes, we did.
And you made contact with Paul Miller?
Officer McQuarrie did, yes.
May I approach the witness?
You may.
I'm handing you what's been preliminarily marked as State's Exhibit 2. Do you recognize that?
Yes.
How do you recognize it?
This was my body cam video from the day of the incident.
And how do you know that?
It's got my writing on it. It's got my notations on it.
And is that video substantially the same as the events as you viewed them that day?
Yes.
Okay, Your Honor, the state will move to admit State's Exhibit 2 to evidence.
Okay. Any objection, Mr. Miller?
I object to everything they're doing. They have no court case.
Sir, just any objection to the admission of the video into evidence?
I object to everything these guys are doing here today. They have
On what grounds, Mr. Miller?
On the grounds that they have no court papers showing who made them law officials.
Okay, objection is overruled. You may enter the evidence. It is accepted into evidence.
Your Honor, I'll be playing it
Okay.
on this screen over.
You may play or publish it, ma'am.
For the record, I'll be starting at marker 159.
Thank you,
Marker
Ms.
what?
Cassidy.
159.
And Ms. Cassidy, could you possibly lift up that microphone and move it a little bit closer to you? Thank you very much.
Hey, Paul, Sheriff's Office. Ted.
He's coming to the door.
What'd you say, Paul?
You're an outlaw.
I'm an outlaw. Okay. So, Paul, this is a court order for you.
No, it's not. It's an outlaw order.
No.
I've got a court order for all Miller versus Martin.
Okay.
Superior Court 1.
Okay. Well, this is Paul Messer versus you. This is an eviction order by the court.
No, it's not.
You have 7 days to vacate.
I'm not vacating.
Okay. You
I
got
got
7
a
days.
court order.
Okay. Paul. Yes. So understand. You got 7 days. Okay. You got 7 days. You can, what is
No, I
that?
don't.
What is that? Okay. So
You got to comply with the call.
Shut up.
You got to comply with the
Shut
call.
up.
If you choose not to, you're going to run the risk of going to jail over this.
I won't.
Okay, yes, you will. You'll go to jail if you don't comply with the court order. So, you got 7 days to vacate.
No, I don't. Shut the f up.
No, you got 7 days to vacate.
I'll get your real name, bitch. You're an outlaw.
It's sitting right
You're
there.
a murderer, McGuire.
It's sitting right there, Paul. You got 7 days to vacate. You choose not to, when we come back, you're going to run the risk of going to jail.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you will. Get it right. Got it? Okay.
I want his name too.
Baker.
Yeah.
Right there, our Baker.
You evil murderers! Middlebury Police Department! Elkhart Sheriff Department! You f***ing murder bitches! Outlaws! You're gonna die! You kill him! You murder! You're not killing! You murder! Get off the top! Get the top off!
And I stopped it at 4:15.
Thank you.
Okay. Officer, in that video, who is the other officer that you can see?
Officer McQuarrie.
Okay. And it appears that Officer McQuarrie handed Paul Miller something. What was that?
That was the notice from the courts, the eviction.
Thank you. I'll pass the witness.
Okay. Mr. Miller, do you have any questions for Officer Baker?
Do you know who made that video with radio waves and do you know who made that thing?
I'm not understanding your question, Rick. Can you explain
That
that?
video there, do you know who made that? Put that together.
That was on my body camera. Hanging right here on my body camera.
Do you know what radio waves are?
Objection. Relevance.
Sustained. Next question.
Are you a fireman?
No.
Have you ever been a fireman?
No.
Do you know Kevin Miller?
Yes.
Do you know that he's been sued?
Objection. Relevance.
Sustained. Next question, Mr. Miller.
Okay, I have no further questions. I know what's going on here now, so.
Okay. Ms. Cassidy, any further questions for Officer Baker?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Officer Baker, you're excused.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Cassidy, does the state have any other witnesses?
Yes, Your Honor. The state calls Roy Clements.
Okay. Roy Clemens. Good morning, Officer Clemens.
Good morning.
Will you please raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Okay. You may be seated, sir.
May I proceed, Your Honor?
You may.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Could you please state your full name for the record?
Sure, it's Roy, R-O-Y. Last name's Clements, C-L-E-M-E-N-T-S.
Thank you. And where do you work?
I work for the Elkhart County Sheriff's Office.
What is your position there?
I'm a patrol officer.
How long have you been with the Elkhart County Sheriff's Office?
Approaching 7 years.
Could you briefly explain to the court your training and experience?
In my training, I've been through the Indiana Law Enforcement Academy. I've taken various other training classes. I'm a general instructor. I'm a field training officer. I am a specialist in emergency management and vehicle operation. I'm an instructor for that. Do background investigations, and then do regular patrol work.
Thank you. Were you working on April 12th of 2021?
I was.
Do you recall issuing a trespass warning that day?
I do.
Who requested you to issue that warning?
Officer Don McQuarrie.
Is he of the Elkhart County Sheriff's Office?
He is. His badge is Adam 200.
Okay. And who was the warning against?
It was against Paul Miller.
Do you recall the address for that no trespass warning?
I believe it's County Road 43 in Middlebury.
Is it safe to say County Road 43?
It might be safe to say. I know it's a wooded lot, but I often get numbers backwards. I'm a little dyslexic.
Okay. Was that location in Elkhart County, Indiana?
Yes.
Did you serve the trespass warning?
On the day of the trespass, when I had pulled into the county jail garage, Officer McQuarrie requested over the radio that I issue Paul Miller a trespass. Paul Miller had already been taken into the jail and was put in a holding cell. So I wrote the trespass warning and I gave a descriptor of it, and we put that trespass warning with his personal belongings.
Is this a standard method for service?
It's an acceptable method. It's not, typically we attempt to do it in person, but oftentimes if a person refuses or they're not in a state where they can sign, we'll write the descriptor of what they look like, and then we'll turn that in without a signature on it.
Okay. So this warning was issued while Paul Miller was located at the Elkhart County Jail?
Correct. It was put with, he had some personal items. He had a wallet and he had a gray razor knife, and that was put with his personal belongings.
Okay. May I approach the witness?
You may.
I'm handing you what's been preliminarily marked as State's Exhibit 3. Do you recognize that?
I do.
What is it?
This is a trespass warning manufactured by the Elkhart County Sheriff's Office, and it has my badge and signature, and the Paul Miller's information and his date of birth and so forth, and his descriptor of what he looks like.
Okay. And where's this trespass warning for? What property?
It says it's for 6 County Road 43.
And is that in Middlebury, Indiana?
It is.
Are you familiar with Paul Miller?
I got to kind of learn a little bit about him in the 25 minutes to the jail, but I had never met Paul Miller before in my life.
Do you see Paul Miller in the courtroom today?
I do. Gentleman sitting right there with the tan suit on.
Okay, thank you. Your Honor, could the record please reflect an important information?
The record so reflects.
At this time, Your Honor, the state would move to enter State's Exhibit 3 into evidence.
Any objection, Mr. Miller?
Say that again.
I'm moving to admit this into evidence.
I object to everything she's doing because he's not the original witness. She's saying she's his witness, and he's got to be the original witness and run his own case. Otherwise, she's not the original witness. So everything she's doing here today is wrong.
Sir, I'm only asking if you have any objection to the admission. On what grounds, sir?
On the grounds that it's all a lie.
Okay, objection is overruled. State's Exhibit 3 is admitted into evidence. Thank you.
All right, I will pass the witness.
Mr. Miller, do you have any questions for Officer Clements?
Is that your real name?
Yes, sir.
How long have you had that name?
Let's see here. A little over 50 years.
And are you a fireman?
No.
That's all I have.
Okay, any other questions, Ms. Cassidy?
No, thank you.
Okay, Officer Clements, you may be excused.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Cassidy, any other witnesses?
The state has one more witness, Your Honor. The state is calling Dustin Salehoff.
Good morning, officer. How are you today? Will you please raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay, you may be seated. Ms. Cassidy, you may proceed.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Could you please state your full name for the record?
Patrolman Dustin Salehoff with the Elkhart County Sheriff's Office.
Could you please spell your last name?
My last name is SAHLHOFF.
You stated you work for the Elkhart County Sheriff's Office.
Yes, ma'am.
What is your position there?
I'm a patrolman.
How long have you been with the office?
13 years.
Could you briefly explain for the court, please, your training and experience?
Upon hiring with the Sheriff's Office, I was sent to the Indiana Law Enforcement Academy where I completed and graduated. After that, I completed the field training program with the Sheriff's Office and became a solo police officer.
Were you working on June 30th, 2021?
Yes, I was.
Were you in your full uniform?
Yes.
Around 2:30 p.m., did you receive a report of a trespass?
Yes, I did.
For what location?
It was in the block of County Road 43. A neighbor had called reporting a suspicious male named Paul Miller at the property.
Is that property located in Elkhart County, state of Indiana?
Yes, it is.
And you stated it was reported that a Paul Miller was trespassing?
Yes, a neighbor called in and said that Kosciuszko County officer had dropped Paul Miller off at the residence, and the neighbor knew that he had previously been evicted and trespassed from the property.
Did you confirm there was an active trespass warning for that location?
I did. When I saw the call come in, I pulled up the previous incident and read through the incident. I read through the court order and I read through the trespass warning, so I knew everything was still valid and legitimate. I looked at the booking picture and I looked at the BMV photo of Paul Miller, so I would know who I was looking for at the property as well.
Do you recall the date the trespass warning was served?
April 12th, 2021.
Right. Did you arrive at the location?
I did.
Were there any other officers with you?
There was 2 Middlebury officers, Officer Baker and the Chief Miller from Middlebury came to assist me.
When you arrived, what did you see?
We walked down the lane in the woods, and I saw Mr. Paul Miller standing on the property. I would describe it as picking up items that were on the ground, looking at them, and walking around.
Based on your review of the BMV photo and other identifiers for a Paul Miller, were you able to confidently identify the man that you saw as Paul Miller?
Yes, I was. The description matched, so I began talking with Paul Miller.
Do you see Paul Miller in the courtroom today?
Yes, I do.
Could you please point to him and identify an article of clothing he's wearing?
Yes, he's wearing the tan shirt. He has a beard.
Your Honor, please let the record reflect an in-court identification of the defendant.
The record so reflects.
What happened next?
Spoke with Paul Miller, explained why I was there, explained that he had previously been evicted and given a trespass warning for the property. We had a brief conversation, then I placed him under arrest.
Did he say anything to you?
Yeah, he told me that he owned the property. He told me that he was suing us. He told me lots of other things.
Do you recall any statement regarding what he would do if he were released from custody?
He told me that he would come back to the property after he was released every time.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness?
You may.
I'm handing you what's preliminarily been marked as State's Exhibit 4. Do you recognize that?
Yes, I do.
What is it?
This is the camera footage from my body camera.
And how do you know that?
I know that because I reviewed this video. I also initialed it.
And is the video on that disc the same as the events you viewed on the day of your body camera?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, the State would move to admit State's Exhibit 4 into evidence.
Mr. Miller, any objection?
I object to everything that they're doing here because everything they're saying is hearsay, so
On the grounds of hearsay is your objection?
yes.
Okay, overruled. The court will accept State's Exhibit 4 into evidence. Would you like to publish or play that, Ms. Cassidy?
Yes, Your Honor.
You may.
I am starting the video at 1:46.
Hello? What are you doing, my man? You do? 252, special bit contact said 100. Hello? No, you don't own this property. You've been evicted from here, remember? Well, that happened in April.
You guys have papers showing proof. Any court papers, you can't just do whatever.
Well, sir, but
It's
you...
my property, so whatever goes in. I need court order showing what you guys are doing.
We served you when we removed the last one.
It's still my property. You didn't give me no court paper on it.
No, and we gave you no trespass warning. You know,
No, you didn't. Where's the paperwork?
gave it to you. We got our copy.
No notice.
You told it to come back to the arrest.
Well, I disagree with it because I got a court order, Paul Mill versus Marshall and Cherry Superior Court 1, Warsaw, Indiana, that says this is my property. Well, you got the
This
notice.
is Elkhart County.
You got the notice. This is my property.
I was here when we served you. You were screaming at us, all the murders and everything.
Well, they released me from the Kosciuszko County Jail and the Elkhart County Jail because they didn't have the paperwork.
Did you steal a rope? You have a rope?
Yeah.
Good rope?
No.
No, not a good. Rope.
court papers. If you guys do something, I gotta see court papers. Who says it?
You were served.
Show me them. Show me them.
So here's what we're going to do. I'm willing to look at the court papers that you're talking about, okay, but gonna have to do an investigation into them. Are you willing to let me do that?
Well, how long is it gonna take?
It's probably gonna take me 10 or 15 minutes.
Well, I just gave you the information on me. I've got a court order here that, it's over there at the court record in Osceola.
So here's what I'm going with, okay? The last time my partners were here, you were trespassed and you were arrested. You were arrested.
They gave me no court order. They just did.
You were arrested and taken off of this property, correct?
Oh.
So what I'm going to do is detain you temporarily right now.
I don't agree to anything.
Okay, that's fine, but we are going to detain you while I do my investigation and look into your court paperwork. Hands behind your back, right there. Don't move. Okay, good. Because I'm willing to look at that paperwork you're talking about.
I understand. You guys have any murders too long, and I have a right to yell for the neighbors know. What's your real name?
Robert B.
No, it's not.
Gilbert Police.
I'll deal with you later. I actually own the police department. That's not even Kevin. You guys have so many different names. I sued him. You guys he owes me. All his property is mine. I even own you'll find that in those papers. If you look at the entry of declaration of default, you'll see Kevin Miller's name, and you'll see the police department. I own everything.
Okay, we're gonna walk over to my car so I can do my investigation.
You got the crime notice, yeah? It's a writ of error court order judgment. I got a judgment book on this property. None of you even showed me papers who made you a law official, so you're trespassing right now.
Oh, here, let me show you, Paul. Hold on. I will be willing to show you that, right there. Signed by Sheriff Jeff Siegel.
I sued him too, so that's an outlaw thing there.
That gives me the authority to arrest
No,
you.
you have to have court orders. You have to have a court order.
No, I don't.
I'll get you later. I'll get your name. I'm not afraid. I own the Elkhart County Sheriff's Department also, the building. I'll get all your names later. You're just trying to intimidate me and put fear in me. You're not gonna do it.
Yes. Okay, watch for traffic. Okay, we're gonna go this way.
You just want to check it out, see what I do. If I think it's still live, your schemes aren't gonna work. Only thing now when I get out, that paper is there. Why don't you go with me over there to court? We'll go check it out. I'll show you everything.
I'll need it for my case report.
His watcher, he has no court papers, his watcher.
Okay.
I remember what you guys did to me. You can't do nothing about it. I got the court papers on it. Ain't that too bad, Kevin? If you're not a clone. Time will tell. I see no court. You have to have a court order to do this. None of you have a court order.
I can't believe you had them bring you back here. How about you could have had them take you anywhere you wanted?
That's my property. I'm gonna stand up for it. Every time I get out, I'm coming back to the property.
Stopped it at 8:22. State passes the witness.
Mr. Miller, do you have any questions for Officer Salhoff?
Is that your real name?
Yes, sir, it is.
How long has that been your real name?
Since the day I was born.
Are you a fireman?
No, I'm not.
Thank you, that's all.
Okay. Any other questions, Ms. Cassidy?
No, thank you.
Okay, Officer Sho'Nuff, you may be dismissed. Thank you. Just confirming, does the state have any other witnesses?
No, Your Honor, the state rests.
Okay. Mr. Miller, it's now your turn to call witnesses if you'd like. You don't have any obligation to call witnesses or speak on your own behalf. What would you like to do at this time, Mr. Miller?
At this time, I'm looking at, this is what I see.
Your
Well,
Honor.
sir, all you need to do is either call a witness, in which case I'll swear a witness in and you can ask questions or testify.
Okay, I have no witness. I'm the original witness myself, so.
Okay, with a
These
reminder,
guys are
you do have a
hearsay.
right to remain silent, so you do not need to testify at your own trial. If you choose to, I will swear you in and you can give sworn testimony, but by no means do you need to, sir.
Your Honor, I would also just like the defendant to know that if he does testify, the state has the right to cross-examine him.
Yes, and are you aware, Mr. Miller, if you do choose to testify and waive your Fifth Amendment right, the state would have the right to cross-examine you?
She continues saying state, but the thing about it is I don't see no state here, and
Mr. Miller, please stop there. Ms. Cassidy is the Deputy Prosecuting Attorney for Elkhart County and represents the state of Indiana in this criminal proceeding. Would you like to testify or would you like to remain silent, sir? Sir, it's yes or no?
I object to everything you're doing here on the grounds that she's hearsay because she's not the original witness, so there you go.
There's no pending question. I will overrule your objection. Last time, sir, would you like to take the stand and give testimony or not?
No.
Okay. Do you have any other witnesses that you would like to call, Mr. Miller?
No.
Okay. Does the defense rest?
I object to everything you're doing here today, so
Your objection is overruled.
Further to say.
You can either rest your case or call a witness, Mr. Miller. Do you have any witnesses to call?
No.
Okay. Then I will presume you're resting your case unless you tell me you have a witness that will be called in short order.
Well, my pleading is that I am not.
Sir, I'm not going to allow you to testify. Do you have any witnesses that you wish to call?
I object to everything you're asking.
Sir, do you have any witnesses that you wish to call?
No.
Okay, then the defense rests. It's time for closing statements. Ms. Cassidy, would the state like to make a closing argument?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Your Honor, the state believes that it's proven beyond a reasonable doubt that Mr. Miller committed criminal trespass. The elements for criminal trespass is a person with no contractual interest knowingly enters the property of another after having been denied entry by the other person or that person's agent. The state has established that a person, Paul Miller, he was ID'd by officers. You can also see him on the video. He had no contractual interest in the property. He was ordered to vacate by a court order, and we were also told that Justin Messer is the owner of that property. Mr. Miller knowingly entered the property of another. He knew that he was on that land, and he purposely asked to be taken there. As we were informed by Officer Sailhoff, Mr. Miller had been dropped off there by the Kosciuszko County Sheriff's Office per Mr. Miller's request. And as you could see here at the end of the video, Mr. Miller said he would go back to that property every time he was released. The final element, after having been denied entry by the other person or that person's agent, Mr. Miller had been served the eviction notice, and he had also been served the trespass warning, both by officers. Mr. Miller claims that he did not receive notice of the eviction. However, per the officer's testimony, we know that to be false. You could also see on the video that Officer McQuarrie personally handed the order of eviction, order of possession to Mr. Miller. So he was in possession of that order. Mr. Miller does not own the land. He was ordered to vacate and not trespass, and he knowingly re-entered that property and stated he would continue to do so. So the state respectfully submits that it has met all the elements of criminal trespass beyond a reasonable doubt and asks that you find the defendant guilty of criminal trespass. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cassidy. Mr. Miller, it's your time to give a closing statement if you'd like to give one.
Between you and me and God, I've never been served the order of possession. And that says Superior Court Force. I don't know why Superior, they've got this over here in Superior Court 5. dealing with a court. This is actually a false court order here, and I've never been served it. So why they bring up this as an exhibit, Court 4, Superior Court 4, when I actually sued that case on another case, they're trespassing my prior case. So that being said, this order of possession is moot according to my prior case, and all her witnesses and her own statements are all hearsay because she's not the original witness. She wasn't even out there. So that being said, this is it says a Class A misdemeanor, and they're trying to bring all these other things in here, trying to steal property. And I ask that you throw the thing out. I plead not guilty to it. I ask you to throw it out because here we've got a false order here that I've never been sued, and I've got that case is consolidated to another case, and they won't even let me file papers in this Superior Court 5 case. I asked them over there where I could write a paper. They won't give me no pens, no papers when I ask them. They won't. They've got me over there on a radio wave, tending murder scheme. They got guys yelling at me over there.
Your Honor, I think this is verging on testimony.
Yes, Mr. Miller, this is not the time to testify. You can only summarize the testimony and evidence that's already been put in and make arguments.
Okay, I'll close it out for you. Basically saying, I have moot papers here. She's hearsay on this matter. She's hearsay. She's not the original witness. She was not there. So that's all I got to say. Thank you. And I'd like to get out of jail today. I'm there without a court order. They jailed me without a court order at the Elkhart County Jail. They have no court order to jail me. I get to file papers on this stuff. They never served me. It's even a different court, so it's actually passing over my other case. So here they imprison me at the Elkhart County Jail without even a court order to jail me. So I'm asking you to throw this case out, this Class A misdemeanor criminal trespass out, this charge, and not even go further with it because it's not even a case. She wasn't even out there. And if these guys have something to say, it's their own. They need to file a complaint themselves, and she's not the state. The state has a name. So if she just uses the name state, she has to use her name and sue me as her name, and she can't because I have a prior case on my property, and she can't sue me because she'd be trespassing my prior case. So that being said, she's not the original witness. They're in here trying to say she's the state. She's not the state because I don't see the state's name. She's saying she's working for the state. But who is the state? So the state's name isn't on there, and her name's on there. And if it's her real name, there's a name on there, but she's not the original witness. And it's hearsay, so I'm asking you to throw even this thing out and release me out of jail today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. All right, the court, having heard the evidence today, consisting of 4 witnesses and 2 videos, the court is finding that the defendant is in fact guilty of criminal trespass, a Class A misdemeanor, under Indiana Code 35-43-2-2B1, as having entered onto a property of which the defendant had no contractual interest. As you might know, Mr. Miller, the range of sentences possible for a Class A misdemeanor are from 0 days to a year in jail and a fine from $0 up to $5,000. This is a misdemeanor. I'm inclined to proceed to sentencing today, which could allow you to be released today for time served. I want to first ask if the state has any objection to me proceeding to sentencing after arguments by both sides, beginning with the state.
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Miller, any objection to
just so you know a little bit where things are at, they jailed me with a prior guy.
So the only question is, do you have any objection to me proceeding to sentencing at this time?
I have a thing to add to that quick, and then I'll answer that if you don't mind. The guy that gave me this paper here when I got into the jail there at the magistrate court told me it'd be 0 to 100 days, around 100 days for a misdemeanor class A. And that being said, I would ask you to take that into consideration and into consideration that these other things here are all moot because they're trying to bring other things to you and open something up to you to deal with other things that, I mean, if this...
Let me stop you right there, Mr. Miller. I'm going to take that as that you have no objection to proceeding to sentencing today and that you will like to make a more elaborate argument on what sentencing should be. But I first want to confirm that you're okay to proceed to sentencing today.
Close it today. Go ahead and decide it for me today, and I plead not guilty. Go ahead and decide it. I have no further thing to say about that. I just like to get out of jail and be free. I mean, I'm an attorney. What happens? I sue a lot of false officials. I have a lot of property. They've been doing this to me for years because I'm a wealthy man, and they do this to me to try to. That's why I'm out in my camper. I got property all over the place, but I just want you to know a little bit so you.
Yes, and sir, I'm going to give you that. I'm going to give you that opportunity to let me know some more of the things that I should consider as I put forth the sentence. For now, I'm just going, to note you said it's okay to proceed and end it today. So I'm taking that as you're agreeable to me issuing a sentence today. And now we move to the part where the state can argue for what it believes is appropriate with the sentence. And then you'll have the opportunity to argue what you believe is appropriate for a sentence. Okay, Mr. Miller? Ms. Cassidy, your argument on sentencing.
Your Honor, first I'd like to note for the court that this incident took place 2 days after Mr. Miller was released from the Elkhart County Jail on a disorderly conduct. That was also an instance where he had been trespassing. So this is a continuous issue with Mr. Miller and this property. He even stated himself that, again, he would go back to the same property every time he was released. So the state does have a concern that if he's released today, he will go back. And he has made prior threats towards officers that come out based on these criminal trespass reports. So the state also has a concern there for officer safety, as well as the safety of Mr. Miller, depending on what he does or does not do. Mr. Miller also has previous convictions. The most recent one, as I stated, was June 28th of 2020.
I'm sorry, Mr. Miller, it's not your turn yet.
That was June 28th of 2021 in this court. So based on those concerns and the extreme likelihood that Mr. Miller will reoffend, the state is asking for a year at the Elkhart County Jail. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cassidy. Now, Mr. Miller, it's your time to make argument.
All this stuff here, that's hearsay on that TV or whatever. They use radio waves and do wrong things with it. They make stuff up on it. I don't make threats on any law officials between you, me, and God. I have a court case stating that if there's a law official that has something to do with me, they have to have court papers showing who made them a law official. Well, they never showed them to me. Now, the other thing is, showing something like that on video is so much hearsay. It's almost makes me cry. You know, when somebody witnesses something, I expect them to sit down and be able to swear to it that they're saying the truth, and if they don't, under penalty of perjury, that they die because they're lying. Now, the other thing is, dealing with all this stuff here, this lady over here has no right to say she's the state. She's not the state. The state would have a name. Now, if she claims to be defending the state, then I want to know who the state is, because the state has a name. I am the state myself. I'm Paul Miller, one of the people of the state of Indiana. Now, if she wants to sue me, that's another thing. But if she's claiming to be the state, that's incorrect, because I'm the state. I have a prior case here. But now looking at all this, this is the way I see it. She's not the original witness. She's claiming to be an attorney, and she's asking you to make certain decisions. And if she claims to be an attorney, why did she have to go through this and say she's the state? Why would she not have sued me herself? So these people here today here are working together to commit perjury against me and steal my properties. And I have verified court papers that I encourage you to be very careful with what's going on, because it's not right for them to they keep bringing other people into this, and they've been doing this to me for a long time because I have a lot of wealth. And they're tending murder scheme on me to try to keep me from my properties and murder me, because I've sued a bunch of false officials on other cases. So they're jailing me with this Class A misdemeanor trespass on my own property without a court order. Now, they're saying this is a court order. It's moot order. This is a moot court order, and it's actually an outlaw paper, because I have a prior. Now, if they bring another case in on saying they have this case, and they bring another case in here, Superior Court 4, which I consolidated this case, I sued this case, and they defaulted. Now, she wants to give me a year in jail on something that these guys had their chance to answer on my other case, which they defaulted that case. So this is a moot court order. She is not the state of Indiana. She says she's an attorney, but I don't see any verified papers of her showing that it's a verified case. It's not even a verified case. She's saying, state of Indiana. And actually, the way it's looking to me, I've got a paper here that, can you tell me what that signature is on there?
Sir, it's only time for arguments, not for questions.
Well, is that her name?
Sir, I'm not going to answer your questions.
Okay, well, anyways, that being said, I want to get through this. I want to be respectful with you, but I want you to know a couple things, what's going on, so you're not sitting here and these people here, their job is to work together. I sued a bunch of false officials on a bunch of other cases, and they're trying to help each other out and get out of paying their bills and try to intimidate me with a radio wave to steal properties from me. But I got my papers, they're verified. So I'm saying all these papers are moot. I'm asking you, I'm willing, out of all fairness, I'm willing to, it's not fair to me to be jailed for the issue that we're looking at today is I have been jailed without a court order, and that's a sad thing. They jailed me with this criminal trespass. And you and me know both what the civil rules of procedure say, that I get to answer this before they jail me. They jailed me without a court order, which is a sad thing. If she says she's an attorney here, she knows what the civil rules of procedure of the state of Indiana are. And she's sitting here wanting me to be in jail for a year without even giving me a chance to answer this thing before jailing me. So I've been falsely imprisoned, and I'm asking you to release me today on the grounds that all this is moot. and I plead not guilty to it because I own my own property. I have a prior case that I actually sued this Superior Court 4 case, and they defaulted, and that's a bad order there. And I even if it's a bad order, I was never served it. So, and they know if they serve it to me, I'm an attorney, what I'm going to do with it. I never lose a case. I studied law and I know what's going on. So that being said, I think me and you dealt on that other thing. What was it? The disorder. I just agreed to it because they were making me a bunch of. I got a radio wave in there on me, and they were just continually harassing me to. They actually harassed me against my will to plead guilty to it. I'm actually.
Your Honor, that is not correct, and I can't let him say that without saying something.
Your objection is sustained. You may wrap up, Mr. Miller.
Okay. Anyways, there was a different attorney on that. They did the same thing to me. They jailed me without a court order on that disorderly conduct also. But I'm going to start standing up for myself now here. I figured, it's just a little misdemeanor. They're just going to let me go or whatever, not make a big deal out of it. But then they thought they're trying to get me to submit to this too, because I just did it so I could get out of jail. Remember, I talked to you about it. I said, I want to get out of jail. I plead guilty today. I said, okay, I got out of there. Well, today what I'm saying is, I object to everything that's going on here today because the issue that we have here today is I've been jailed without a court order on this criminal trespass.
Mr. Miller, can you confirm for me, have you been jailed on this case since June 30th of 2021?
No. It was the 1st of July on this, but it wouldn't be a case yet because I never answered anything yet. So I have the right, by Indiana Civil Rules of Procedure, I have the right to write something down and file it. And they put me in jail so I can't file because I'm an attorney. They know what I'm going to do with it. I win every time. So, but I'll go ahead and overlook all what's going on here today to make things simple for you. What I'm saying is, the issue we have today here is I've been jailed without a court order. I get to answer this criminal trespass before they can jail me according to law and according to civil rules of procedures of court. So Indiana Civil Rules of Procedure of Court. So I'm asking you just to say this stuff is moot. Her information is hearsay because she's not the original witness. It's not her case. She's saying it's state of Indiana.
Sir, you've indicated that several times. I'd like you to wrap up your closing statement, please.
Okay. I'm asking you to release me today. I'd like to go home. These papers are moot. They're on the grounds that they're trying to bring all this stuff together, and they jailed me without a court order. I get to answer first before they ever jail me. I have the right to answer and file a paper. And I'm asking you to release me today and look at all this as just being moot and it's done with. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Miller.
Because I plead not guilty. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Ms. Cassidy, are you able to confirm if Mr. Miller has been held on this case since June 30th or July 1st of this year?
It's June 30th.
June 30th. And it is on this cause of action?
Correct.
Okay. All right, folks, here's what I'm going to do. I'll start, Mr. Miller, just to give you an explanation. I'm going to hand down a sentence that, in essence, gives you 3 more weeks in jail. And it's going to be made up of this. The court will impose a sentence of, technically, 360 days in the Elkhart County Jail. And we are going to give you credit for the 114 actual days that you've already served since you were arrested, plus equal earn time credit. That brings us to 228. I would like for you to serve 270 days in jail, which can be satisfied by 135 days. So that would leave 90, which would be satisfied by 45 days of reporting probation. So you will be remanded to the custody of the Elkhart County Sheriff for what amounts to 21 more days, which when added to your 114 actual days will get up to 135. At that point, sir, you will be released. Within 72 hours of your release, you'll need to contact Elkhart County Probation to touch base with them. They will give you a copy of their standard terms and conditions of probation, and they are hereby incorporated by reference into this criminal sentencing order. So among other things, sir, you need to make sure that you follow all court orders, that you refrain from incurring new criminal charges, that you avoid alcohol and illegal drugs and being around those who are using illegal drugs, and anything else that's on their standard terms and conditions. Some of the court orders that I need you to pay specific attention to, sir, is I'm entering a new no trespass order. Now, there's no doubt about it at all. We're in open court at your trial. You are to stay off of the property located at County Road 43 in Middlebury, Indiana, in the county of Elkhart, state of Indiana. I don't have a zip code handy.
I can give it to you. Well, I thought I could.
It's okay, I'll look it up.
Okay, sorry.
One more time, Karen.
I think it's 46540.
46540. You're also, Mr. Miller, to avoid having any contact with the 4 witnesses today. That would include Officer Donald Anthony McQuarrie, Officer Robert Baker, Officer Roy Clemens, and Officer Dustin Salhoff, as well as Deputy Prosecuting Attorney Cassandra Cassidy. I want you to avoid all contact. You are not to reach out to them. You are not to harass, annoy, bother them. That is part of the criminal sentencing order. I'm also going to fine you. I have the right to fine you up to $5,000, and you did indicate you're a wealthy man. I'm only going to fine you $250 and impose the court costs, which are mandatory. You'll need to pay that $250 fine and the court costs by April 30th of next year. That gives you 6 full months to get that paid, either across the hall or by calling into the clerk's office. Mr. Miller, I'll ask you when you leave to have one of the officers assist you with one of those pieces of paper on the table. That's going to have 2 important numbers for you. The first is Elkhart County Probation, which again, you'll need to call within 72 hours of your release. The other is the clerk of the Elkhart Superior Court number 5, which you can call to get instructions on how to pay your fine and your court costs.
Judge, did you say 200?
I said 250.
Oh, that's fine. I just wanted to.
Yeah, 250 plus court costs.
Okay.
We talked about the no trespass order. We talked about the no contact order with the 4 officers and Miss Cassidy. We've talked about the jail sentence and the probation guidelines. At this time, sir, I will remand you to the custody of the Elkhart County Sheriff for the service of the remainder of the executed portion of your
I
sentence.
don't agree to anything you're doing here today, so there you go.
Okay.
I object to everything, just so you know.
I've tried to be respectful with you, and I appreciate your respect for the court today, Mr.
I have
Miller.
a prior case, Paul Miller versus Marshall McSherry, Superior Court 1, Warsaw, Indiana, and you can't put me on probation because of it, and I'm gonna use it.
Okay, sir. Well, sir, I wish you the best of luck, okay?
Daggum, it's like a casting call for Ripley's Believe It or Not in that place.
And thanks once again for hanging out with us on Facts or Frauds. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button, you're subscribed, and ring that bell. Also, leave a comment in the comment section. Tell me what you think. And a major thank you to all of our Facts or Frauds channel members. If you'd like to become a member, just hit that join button right next to subscribe or click on the link in the description. Now, if you're still hanging out, thank you. I appreciate you all. Why not hit that thumbs up button? Make sure you're subscribed, ring the bell, and leave a comment in the comment section. Tell me what you think. Till next time, I'll see you soon.